Well, thank you for coming back to our event today, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very, very, very special speaker for you today, and her name is Dr. Shivani Gupta. And we're going to be talking about the ancient healing art of Ayurveda. It's only been around for 5,000 years, right? So,
That's it.
yeah, kind of new, kind of a modern thing. Seriously, Ayurveda has been around a long, long time, and it's a very complete science. Fortunately, I was introduced to it in the 1980s, so I know quite a bit about it. But Shivani is quite an expert, and she's had several years of training. She actually has her master's degree and her doctorate degree in Ayurveda and Ayurvedic medicine. So we're very, very happy to have you with us today, Shivani.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I know it's such a broad topic and we don't have that much time, but maybe you can give people an overall background and then we can give them some specific ideas of things that they can do.
Sure. The way I explain it is Ayurveda is a system of medicine and prevention from India. And Ayurveda means knowledge of life and what we can do in our lifetimes to live in alignment with mind, body, and spirit. And so just like, acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, we have more knowledge of that system of medicine. Over there, they have herbology, they have different approaches to maintaining a beautiful preventive lifestyle. At the same time, India was producing its own system of medicine and healing. And so within Ayurveda, you have detoxification, nutrition, we have modules and topics such as yoga, pranayam, digestive fire, detoxification. There's so much to what we can do in our daily lives. But what I love about Ayurveda is once you have that understanding for yourself of how to live in balance with nature, how to live in balance with your dosha or your mind body constitution, then all of a sudden life is much easier. So instead of living this life that's stressful or challenging, or a life where you're exhausted and your body's not cooperating with you, or a body where we're constantly inflaming it and setting ourselves up for chronic disease, we have such a unique opportunity to kind of put on the brakes, to stop that pathway of inflammation, and to set ourselves up for success when it comes to our health, our energy, our sleep, our digestion, our metabolism, our lymphatic system.
Right.
So my approach to Ayurveda is what can we take from Ayurveda that we can practice on a daily basis to have vibrant health and vibrant immunity overall.
Mm-hmm. And have longevity too, because if you can avoid the inflammation and all these things that cause the rapid deterioration and the acidic situation in the body and all that, then we should be able to live much, much longer, right? And be vitally healthy while we're alive all the time.
Exactly. Because otherwise, what we're doing is we've been given this body, we take it for granted. We're just living a life based on what we've seen or learned from our own parents, and whatever influenced them in terms of modern science and modern habits.
Right.
And really the modern food industry that we have right now.
Right.
And all of a sudden, our bodies aren't quite doing what they're supposed to. At 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, people are seeing really horrific chronic diseases, issues. And even in my own family growing up, and that's why I got into Ayurveda, growing up, my family, everybody was diabetic. And once they reached their 60s, everyone had heart disease, quadruple bypass, heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's, all the end game things, amputation that happened from having diabetes. And so growing up, I'd go to India every year and I would see my family there and I would say, why every time do I land is someone dying? Like what's wrong with us? What's wrong with my parents' generation and the generation above it? And how am I going to stop this cycle? Like, I don't want that life. I don't want my parents to have that life. And so that's when I reached for Ayurveda and then realized that we have such a unique opportunity to heal our gut, ignite our digestive fire, and completely put a stop to the disease pathways and the track that we might have been on.
So Ayurveda wasn't being practiced, in other words.
No, if you go to India, I'm 40 now. I've grown up going to India since I was a little girl. I watched India go from like really beautiful, healthy, clean food, fresh made. Your grandma would be in the kitchen making food 3 times a day in the village. All the way to this journey, I watched how Pizza Hut came in, Starbucks, like every fast food came in, and then the culture shifted. All of a sudden, everyone's in the fast food restaurants eating. That's the cool thing to do. People are doing to go everything. Pre-packaged processed foods became part of the regular household diet. Frozen roti, frozen dals, frozen vegetables, nothing living or fresh. And that's when, you know, the modernization of I think our culture across all those types of countries has had a huge detriment to people's longevity and health.
What a wonderful contribution America Free Enterprise made to, to the world.
I know, it's
Crazy.
so bad.
I mean, it is just amazing. I had no idea that that was the case there. But so is it coming back now in India? Is it making a comeback?
It is. It has been making a
Born
comeback
there? I
because
mean,
they saw the punishment of McDonald's and everything being there. And they said, you know, what worked was fresh homemade dal chawal and khichdi and sabji and our roti, like all those fresh, simple foods that were part of our original diet. Those are what's served. There's this resurgence towards ghee, fresh milk, you know, all fresher ingredients.
right, wonderful, wonderful. And things like dosas. I love dosas.
I know.
Yeah,
So
my daughter-in-law just brought me some dosa batter yesterday. You know, so
nice.
we make our own dosa batter. So, you know, it's and people have no idea how delicious a dosa is. You know,
No, they don't.
forget bread. Once you've had dosas, you don't want to eat bread. You know?
It's true. So true.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I teach so many people how to make like Ayurveda's elixirs, hinka pani, how to make khichdi, how to make a simple, like when we call it lentil soup and lentil chili here in America, we're not using the spices that Ayurveda gives us that help us pre-digest all those beans. So people say beans are hard to digest. No, they're not. We're just not setting ourselves up for success to digest them properly or absorb their nutrition. And so a lot of what I teach is what the herbs and spices can do for us, because truly they are the superfoods. You know, when you are on a health journey, you typically hear about salmon and blueberries and antioxidant rich, anti-inflammatory food ingredients. And when I was in herbology and Ayurveda, I was like, wait a minute, our regular spice box in our traditional Indian kitchen has that much power? Okay. And that's when I became really passionate about turmeric, ginger, and what all these things can do for us.
Right. So what were some of the steps that people could take that don't know anything about Ayurveda to get started in this path and to learn about it and how to use it and implement?
Well, Ayurveda is pretty complex. It's pretty big. It's pretty vast. What I've done is, as an Ayurvedic practitioner, I spent many years, seeing clients privately. And I started seeing these certain patterns. If you have this dosha, this is what you need to balance you. And a dosha is a mind-body constitution. So typically I sit down with someone and we do a dosha quiz. We come to understand what is your mind-body constitution now, and what was it when you were a child before you had any imbalances or things that shifted you. Because once you learn to live according to your dosha or your mind-body constitution, things get much easier. All of a sudden, energy levels, brain fog, sleep, emotions, anger, all those things, feeling anxious or depressed, all those things come into control. And then once you understand the dosha, you can go a little bit further. Then you can talk about digestive fire and all the practices we can use to ignite the digestive fire. Then I like to talk about circadian rhythm and sleep. Most people in America, in the West, are not sleeping the way we should. We think we're sleeping fine, but once you optimize sleep, then all of a sudden you can have vibrant immunity. Then all of a sudden you can be reducing that inflammation at night, so you're better supported throughout the day. Then I teach Ayurvedic self-care. I mean, self-care from Ayurveda, we call it dinacharya. That's the daily self-care rituals that are so beautiful. They detox the body, they support the body, they can give us so much peace. They're so effective at reducing stress in our bodies. And then I go even further and kind of teach like the Ayurvedic sattvic diet and the ways we can eat to really support ourselves in the long run. So I developed my own program where I sit down with women over a 6-week period in a group setting, and I get to teach that because I took all the patterns that I saw in individual consultations and put it in that form. And then I also built my supplement company, Fusionary Formulas, and I like to show people how herbs and spices from Ayurveda can completely transform us when it comes to our inflammation in our body, when it comes to joint pain, when it comes to sleep. I just want everyone to feel better and feel healthier. And I think we'll have a much happier world if we're all practicing self-care and taking the right herbs and spices.
Why don't you just spend a minute talking about the doshas?
Sure.
And, you know, like the Pitta, Vata, and Kapha, right? The three.
Yes.
So, you know, how do you tell whether a person is one or the other?
Sure. So doshas is a very, very, it's like a central theme of what we teach in Ayurveda. So people are typically a combination of the 3 doshas, and you're dominant in one and secondary in another. So let's start with Vata. The Vata dosha, people pronounce it Vata. Vata dosha person is typically thin and wiry. This is a person who's always on the move and in motion. They're usually not sitting still. This is someone who's always like, kind of like a hurricane is how I see it. Tornado, they're always moving. Thoughts, creativity, new ideas.
Like somebody on speed.
It kind of is. It oftentimes is. The mind never settles. So this person has certain issues that traditionally, poor sleep, poor digestion, never sit down to have a whole meal. They're not eating enough fats. They also never finish a project. So I have one protocol for my Vata people to kind of settle them down a bit. And then all of a sudden, they're able to complete their projects in their lives. They're able to slow down and soak up the joy and enjoy the life in front of them instead of missing it because they're just going too fast. We can reduce their anxiety. Ayurveda has a lot of tools for anxiety and calming us down and bringing us back to our center and alignment. Then you've got the Pittas. The Pitta is typically medium body. They'll have reddish, skin, reddish hair, more redness coming out of them. Their dosha, their element is fire. Vatas is air, and dosha for Pitta, the element is more fire and water. And so this person's always also in motion and doing things, but more in like a creative entrepreneurial way. They've got this fire under them. And the problems that a Pitta typically has is they get jealous, they get angry, they react. I'm surrounded by a lot of Pittas. And so Pittas are very focused and driven, but they also have some negative traits. They have great digestion, they have great sleep, but they also have a mind that can be in overdrive sometimes, and they have to learn how to cool down their system. And so right now we're entering summer. As you enter certain seasons, like the summer season, it's important to know where's the ideal place to travel. What are some things you can do to stay cool and calm and collected? If you're in a challenging year like a pandemic and you're locked in with people and they're making you crazy, how can you calm your Pitta down so that you keep your relationships intact? Because that's definitely a challenge for the Pitta.
That's why I have that pool outside.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Pittas need to.
Because I have to, I'm Pitta Kapha.
Yep. A Pitta's got to get in that water, drink that coconut water, really cool down the system, or they're going to be reaching for sugar and sweets and all sorts of things that will cool down the system. And then you've got the Kapha. The Kapha is more sturdy. They're of the earth. That person's more one thing at a time. They're slow and steady wins the race. It's a very loyal person, very nurturing, like Mama Bear takes care of everybody. That type of perspective and attitude. The Kapha people complain because their body wants to be sedentary. They don't want to be in motion, but it's something they need if they're going to move through and accomplish some of their goals. And so I sit down with the Kapha person. We have a whole separate understanding, but sometimes self-awareness is so key. I had a phase of my life where I was in Kapha and I'd get so angry with myself. I'd say, why after 6 are you on the couch and you cannot get up? But once you understand your nature, you can work with it. You can give yourself forgiveness. You can understand where you are and what's needed to keep you in balance. And so that's where I find the doshas to be so powerful, because once you understand how to manage your dosha according to the circadian clock, all of a sudden you have a lot more ease and more joy because you know how to utilize your energies better.
So I think that's really a great explanation of it, and give people an idea that once you know your dosha, if I'm saying it properly, then you can create a plan, to improve your life and your health, because you know what you are. Like I know I'm a Pitta Kapha, so I know I have to cool down. I have to jump in the water. I try to get in the water every day.
Good.
And that really helps me. But yeah, that's very, very important. What about the pulse diagnosis? And do you work with the pulse diagnosis as well?
In Ayurveda, we have so many tools. We have pulse diagnosis, we have tongue analysis, we have looking at people's hair and nails, just looking at people's skin, understanding from a dosha analysis and an intake form, you can quickly understand the nature of who you're dealing with. I love sitting down with people and kind of unfolding what the issues are and how we can support them to get back on the track to better health. So I love that we have so many tools out of Ayurveda. And when you use these tools, you start to see such tremendous shifts. I have so many people who, once you balance their Vata dosha, life is so much easier. Once you explain to that Pitta why they're exploding all their relationships, life is so much easier. And that Kapha person, once you show them how to get more done in that first half of the day, everything else gets much easier.
Yeah, I mean, it's so all encompassing. It's diet, it's the herbs, it's the oils, the oil treatments. It's just, just from my experience, there's so many different alternatives for healing you that you can always find one or two or three that work.
Sure.
And and you're not going to the doctor all the time.
Yeah, you're not, because you're able to
people always ask me, who's my doctor? I haven't had a doctor for 60 years.
Yeah.
And I rarely need one. I needed shoulder surgery. Okay, I go to a doctor. But that's about it. A couple of times in my life that I've had interaction with a doctor since I've been, into the meditation, and which is another part of Ayurveda, right? Is meditation, which is been the key part for me. Is I've been meditating for 50 years now, twice a day, every day. And that's a key, very key part of it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So when people come to you, are you looking at all these different alternatives for them?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love seeing how we can put someone on the path to vibrant health. And so typically when someone comes to me, it's because they're frustrated. They want to understand, why do I not feel good? Why is my energy off? Why do I feel like my immune system is not supported? Why do I have this resistant weight gain and can't lose the weight? And I like to sit down with them and just unfold, like, what is it? And that's why I built the program, because I felt like, if we all understood like our own mindful medicine chest and what we have available to us as tools and elixirs from Ayurveda, we'd be more supported. If we fixed our sleep, most issues in life can get resolved from there. If we understood our digestive fire and we ignited it every day and we kept it ignited instead of cooling it down and turning it off, we could absorb and transmute what we're eating and get ojas, which is that nectar from the foods that we need to live this energized life. And so I like to sit down with people and go through all of it, because it's once you have this toolkit from Ayurveda that you can have the life that you want. It wasn't until I practiced it for myself that I was able to have such productive days, but also such like satiation and satisfaction with my life, because there's always a yin and a yang. You can't have like total full force all the time. But I have all of it now because of the self-care and all of that. So
what 2 or 3 tips could you give people about getting better sleep?
Ooh, okay. So sleep is one of my favorite topics. One is create an evening ritual, like a series of self-care rituals and cues that you give your body and mind that you're going to be going to sleep. So in Ayurveda, we teach that 10 to 2 on the circadian clock is the most optimal time for us to sleep, because that's the Pitta time of day. So if you look at a clock as a pie, on that top section, if you're not sleeping 10 to 2, Your lymphatic system is not able to clear out everything. The way I explain it is garbage trucks. Imagine every night that garbage trucks are going to come out and they're going to pick up all the garbage from our mind, excess thoughts, emotions, things that do not serve, excess things that we're worrying about that we don't need to worry about. And then they come here to our heart, excess emotions, things that we were feeling that we just don't need anymore. Clear
Right.
it out. Gut, all the toxins we don't need there. Really clearing out everything. And then in the morning, it all evacuates our body. Then we have a glymphatic system in the brain that will not clear if we're not dropping into deep sleep states and the restorative sleep states that we need. So most people are telling me, I'm a night owl. I'm so busy. I need to wind down. I need this, that, and I get it. I do that too sometimes. But since I started practicing this, if you sleep from 10 onwards, like the 10 to 6, 10 to 5, your benefit from sleeping 10 to 2 is so powerful from an inflammation, lymphatic, everything, all body systems,
Okay.
rejuvenation standpoint, that
Okay.
you have better health overall. And then all the things you're trying to do for your health will be that much easier. The workouts, the clean eating, the good stuff, the supplements, everything will be better absorbed and have a better impact. And
Okay.
then I also,
So if
Mhm.
you're going to sleep, you get to sleep by 10. What
Yep,
do you have to do starting at 9 so that your body is ready to go to sleep at
you have
10?
to stop eating dinner by 7. You have to start winding down work, all things that really stimulate the brain by 8. By 9, you should be heading towards evening self-care. In Ayurveda, we teach about dry brushing, which moves the lymphatic system and helps you detox. We teach abhyang massage, self-massage of the body using sesame oil, king of oils in Ayurveda. We want people to do that abhyang oil massage to the whole body and really ground yourself and give yourself that better quality sleep. I created something called deep sleep tea. This is my favorite tea. And so deep sleep tea is just all the Ayurvedic herbs that we can use to settle the mind, settle the body. It has ashwagandha, brahmi,
So
uh,
what time would you drink that tea then?
9, because it'll make you fall asleep. It's pretty powerful. You can have a chamomile tea if that's what you have around, but having tea as a cue at 9 o'clock, saying, "Okay, we're heading towards bed. I'm going to shower, self care. I'm going to relax. I'm going to get in bed and read a book." Using that time to wind down so you can fall asleep at 10.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so you do the oil. I know some people that do Ayurveda, they do the oiling of their body in the morning.
Yes.
But would you say also at night or
In Ayurveda, we teach to do all of the nacharya in the morning. And as a mom, there's absolutely no way. There's no way I could do all my self care in the morning. I've tried. I can do that on the weekends. But during the weekdays, I have taken the second half of those self care rituals from Ayurveda and put them into the evening. And I have found that you get such profound benefit by doing it at night because you are moving the lymphatic system, putting the oil in, using it as a way to ground and center yourself before bed. Sesame oil on the tops of the feet helps you get even better, deeper sleep. So I recommend this all at night so that you can use it as an evening self-care series of rituals to help you drop into a deeper sleep state.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
And just straight sesame oil, or I know sometimes they put other things in there in a mixture depending on your dosha.
For sure. You can definitely customize to your dosha. You can use certain oils that are beneficial. I say sesame oil because it's across the board good for us. It works, it's three doshic. But yes, certainly we can customize our oils and buy beautiful Ayurvedic oils that have even more benefits to them.
Right, right. Can you get all that online now?
Yeah, I mean, you said that there's a Maharishi store. I think Maharishi's great. I know
Yeah.
another great organization called Pratima out of New York. So I use her oils. They're very high quality. So I use her neem oil, her hair oil. I love using Ayurvedic oils on the body because that is another medicine. That is another thing that we're feeding the body.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
There's just so much to it, isn't there? But I want people to understand that there's some basic, simple things that they could do like right away that can
Yeah,
make a difference. And you're right about sleep. I mean, the sleep is just absolutely critical. Um,
it is. It is. And people don't realize that. Everyone tells me I sleep fine. But when you dig into it, fine, if you're waking up tired, if you're waking up exhausted, if you are exhausted by 3 o'clock in your day, if you're immune system is not supporting you the way it should, if you're inflamed, you should look at sleep and see if you can optimize sleep better. One thing I teach that's like my favorite quick tip out of Ayurveda, I love to teach about turmeric and the power of turmeric to reduce inflammation. That's what I'm known for. I'm the turmeric girl who studied my PhD was on turmeric, and I built my whole supplement company around potent curcumin supplements that help the body. But one thing I always share is using a tongue scraper. When you use a tongue scraper in Ayurveda, we teach that the tongue reflects all the organs of the body, just like the bottom of our feet do in reflexology. And so by using a tongue scraper every day, you're going to ignite digestion. You're going to detox all the organs of the body, remove that white film off the tongue. And so you just use a tongue scraper 7 to 14 times in the morning. And that's it. And that alone has helped so many people. And it's a simple tool. You buy it once and you've got it for life.
That's amazing. So good. We've given people a few basic things they can do like right away, right?
Yeah, they're easy.
Very easy. So, the oil, the sesame oil at night, the tea about 8 o'clock.
Yep.
And, just winding down, no watching Breaking Bad till 11 o'clock.
No, I mean, in Ayurveda, we teach for pregnancy. I wrote a whole book called The Conscious Pregnancy because I felt like no one had written a book on Ayurveda and pregnancy. But we talk about how whatever you feed the mind goes to the baby. And so in the same way, whatever we feed our minds, that's what our brain and our whole being is going to chew on at night. So I no longer watch the news, scary movies, violent movies, any of that stuff. I want my mind to only chew on good things all night long. That's how we're going to wake up ready to meditate on the good things. And
I've pretty much eliminated the news 24 hours a day.
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's just you want to have good, sweet, nice, easy thoughts.
Yeah,
loving
that's how we're able to create the life we want, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, this has been fantastic. Why don't we tell people a little bit about how they can find out more about what you do and your groups, because those groups sound like it'd be a fantastic experience.
Sure. So my website is shivanigupta.com, SHIVANIGUPTA. My program is fusionarymethod.com, so FUSIONARY method.com. My supplement company is fusionaryformulas.com, and you can find me there as well. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Dr.Shivani Gupta and Fusionary Formulas RX, so you can find me on social anytime. And on Facebook, I have a group called Natural Remedies for Vibrant Health. And so I teach in that group every single week. And I love bringing people together to learn about vibrant health from Ayurveda.
And that's just, people can just come there and come sign in and be, oh, that's great. And then if they want to do one of your Zoom meeting groups, then that's something that they would find out about at shivanigupta.com, right?
Yes, there and fusionarymethod.com.
Okay, wonderful. Wow. Is there anything else you want to leave people with? Any other thought in terms of making these changes?
We're living in an interesting time. And I think for the first time, people are taking their health really seriously. And I know people are living in fear around their health and what's going to happen. But I truly believe that if we live a life of less inflammation, more balance, more prevention, and vibrant immunity, if we really 5x our effort in terms of how we handle our own immune system and bodies, then we can live in peace knowing that we've done our level best and that we're kind of bulletproof and healthy and strong. And so I just want to share with people that Ayurveda has that. It has those golden nuggets that show us how to live a life of true prevention and longevity. And so I love it. I love that we have access to it. We have so many people interested in Ayurveda and what it can do for us.
I like that golden nuggets analogy, because every time that I do one of these interviews, I want them to be as life-changing, life-altering as possible. And, that for people to walk away with at least 2 or 3 golden nuggets. And you've done way more than that. So I really appreciate you being here today, and I think everybody that watched this interview will be very, very happy that they heard it. And and hopefully follow through and go to ShivaniGupta.com. And what was the other one, the fusion one?
Fusionaryformulas.com, fusionarymethod.com. Those are the three main ones.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you very much. And thank all of you for being here today, everyone. And definitely follow through with Shivani, because it could be life-changing for all of us. So thank you again for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.